Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I'm returning to you this mid-afternoon for a album review. I'm finally getting around to this album, the New Testament record for Bellum. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for the 50.5-minute record, which is a 10-track album, and let you know my thoughts on Bellum overall. So let's dive into this album review. Now, the last album I've heard from them was Titans of Creation back in 2020. So it's been about 5 years since their last release. But overall, let's get started. It starts with For the Love of Pain, which is a very strong track. Really enjoyed the drummings, vocals from the vocalist in this. It was very strong with the screaming potential and the aggressive vocals sounding very strong. I really enjoyed that aspect about the track. Sorry, I'm just catching my breath for a second. Asthma related stuff. But I'll be okay through the video. As the video goes on, I think I should get better. But overall, For the Love of Pain is a 5 out of 5. It's a very enjoyable track. Really enjoyed the breakdowns. I enjoyed the drumming, guitar work, and the overall thrash metal pace of the track did very well. In Fantaside AI, I believe, was one of the singles for this record, and this was the only song I heard as a single alone, and I really enjoyed it. I think the screaming vocalist and the aggressive vocalist in this track did very well in this track. I really enjoyed both his screaming and aggressive vocals in this. It sounded really strong. And the drumming and guitar work was very spot on good, meaning it was really good of a track, so I really enjoyed Infanticide AI, 5 out of 5. Shadow People is another great track. It is almost a 6-minute song, but it does well for the execution for how it sounds. So I'd give it a 5 out of 5 too. I really enjoyed the vocals from the lead singer, and screaming and aggressive vocals combined together did very well. And drumming and guitar work sounded very strong in this. And overall, the lyrics were really on point and following the pacing of the song, so it did very well. 5 out of 5. Meant to Be is a 7.5-minute song. It's a little melodic, but it is a really good song. As you pick up through the rest of the track, it starts getting better. But it overall is one of my favorite songs on the record. It's melodic, but it also has its heavy tendencies when you get to the second half of the song, and it does very well for the execution with the lead singer's screaming and aggressive vocals sounding very strong, and the drum work and guitar work doing very excellent. So 5 out of 5. High Noon is a very strong track. I believe they dropped a music video for this song when it came out recently, because this album came out 2 days ago. And overall, it is another favorite track on the record. So 5 out of 5 for High Noon. I really enjoyed this track. It does have a southern kind of metal style to it, but it does very well for how it sounds. Southern thrash metal kind of vibe, but it does very well for the execution. Witch Hunter is another great song. I really enjoyed the lead singer's screaming and aggressive vocals in this too. Throughout most of this record, it's a really good record, despite nothing being a letdown on this record. So it's a 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed Witch Hunter. It is a great song. I think the screaming and aggressive vocals from the lead singer are very strong. And the drumming and guitar work follows the pacing of the track, and it does very well for the execution. So another banger, a 5 out of 5. Definitely is a strong track, definitely rocks. Nature of the Beast is another great song. I really enjoyed this one too. I'd give it a 5 out of 5 for this one. It was very enjoyable for how it sounded with the vocals from the screaming, aggressive vocals from the vocalists doing very well. and guitar work and drumming wise. I like the solos throughout most of this record. The guitar solos, they're very strong. So, yeah, Nature of the Beast is another great track, a favorite of mine. 5 out of 5. Room 177 is another strong track. I mean, granted, I had a few critiques with how it sounded, but it is a very strong track in its own way. So, another 5 out of 5 for this one. It says 117 is what they're singing, what the lead singer is singing in this track, but it doesn't make sense, honestly. If it's 117, why does it say 177? It should be 177. I don't understand. But hey, that's how I looked at it, and that's what I wrote down. So maybe I missed a number or missed where I was writing or whatever. I don't know. But either way, the song was pretty good. So 5 out of 5. Havana Syndrome is another strong track. It's the second to last track before we get to the closing track, and it does very well for the execution. Another banger for sure. I like the screaming and aggressive vocals from the vocalist in this track, and the drum work and guitar work do very well in this track, so 5 out of 5. And finally, the closing track, Parabellum, goes out with a bang for the closing track on the record, doing very well for the execution, and it's definitely rocks for sure. It is 6.5 minutes, but it does well for the execution. The fade out at the end of it is pretty cool, where it fades out the melody and all that. So, really enjoyed this track. It's definitely a personal favorite of mine, and one of the best title tracks on the record. It is the title track for the album's name, but it overall was a great title track. 5 out of 5. Overall, production, mixing, and execution wise, I think Testament's follow up to Titans of Creation is another strong record. I really enjoyed this one. It is probably as good as Titans of Creation, even though Titans of Creation I haven't really returned to in like 5 years. I still thought that was a really strong record too in its own way. So, yeah, I like the singles. I like the regular songs on the record. This record was bad, so they put out a really good one for this one too. The follow up to Titans of Creation is very strong, and if I were to give Testament Parabellum a score, sorry, I slurred with what I was trying to say. I messed up with my wording. But if I were to give Testament Parabellum a score, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. A perfect score. It is a strong record. Definitely rocks. Highly recommend you check this release out if you have not listened to it last Friday, October 10th. I'm sorry I didn't get around to reviewing it sooner. I just was very busy with stuff in my personal life, like chores, etc., running errands, all that kind of stuff, and helping my mom out. So, you know how it is. It's just, there's times where I'll get to a review, but now I might have to postpone the last review until later today. I'll try to see if I can get around to it, but for right now, this is going to be the review I'm putting out to you guys, and hopefully you enjoyed it. I do have a track review to do pretty soon, but until then, 10 out of 10 for Testament Parabellum. I really enjoyed this record, and I hope you enjoyed this album review this afternoon, and thanks for watching.